Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Township of Chatham's Township Committee meeting. Greg, has adequate notice been given?
Yes, adequate notice of this meeting of the Township Committee was given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act as follows. Notice was given about the Chatham Courier and the Morris County Daily Record on January 8th, 2016. Notice was posted on the bulletin board in the main hallway of the Municipal Building on January 8th, 2016. And notice was filed with the Township Clerk on January 8th, 2016.
Thank you. Would everyone please stand for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Gallup?
Here.
Mr. Kelly?
Here.
Mrs. Schwartz?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sullivan?
Here.
Mayor Ritter?
Here. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Aye.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We've got a couple of great items on our agenda today. We've got a proclamation and a resolution. We're going to flip those two and start with the resolution 2016-092, honoring our longtime employee, Kelly Simbukas. I'll read the resolution, then I'll ask for a motion to approve. Resolution of the Township of Chatham, of the Township Committee of the Township of Chatham, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, honoring Kelly Simbukas. Whereas Kelly Simbukas began her career with the Township of Chatham 28 years ago in April 1988. And whereas Callie began her career in the construction office, transferred and became the deputy administrator in the municipal court before returning to the construction office as the control person. And whereas Callie became a certified technical assistant to the construction official, a position affectionately referred to by the acronym TACO. And whereas Callie also served as the board manager for both the Planning Board and the Zoning Board of Adjustments, as well as the Township's dog licensing clerk. And whereas Callie was dedicated to serving the Township of Chatham and all of its residents and has been described by coworkers and supervisors as highly efficient, productive, accurate, and responsible with a strong sense of what is right and appropriate. And whereas Callie Simbukas contributed her knowledge, expertise, and wisdom to benefit the community to improve the quality of life in the Township of Chatham. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Township Committee of the Township of Chatham honors and recognizes Callie Simbukas for her dedicated, devoted service and calls upon the citizens of Chatham Township to join in expressing our heartfelt gratitude and best wishes to Callie, her beloved husband Pete, their children John and Chrissy, and their grandchildren. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gallup?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mrs. Schwartz?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sullivan?
Yes.
Mayor Ritter?
Yes. Do you want to say something, Kelly? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a great pleasure to work for Chatham Township for over 28 years. I'd like to thank the mayor, the Township Committee, for the opportunity they gave me to serve the residents of the Township. And I have to give a special thanks to Tom Chicaron for his assistance, his support all through the years that I was working here. Also, I have to say thank you to Mr. Robertson. It was very nice to see him tonight, that he helped me a lot when I was in the planning board. I will miss you all, and also I will miss the interaction that I had every day with the residents. I had a great time so far with my retirement, and I'm looking forward to spend a special a good time with my family and my kids and my friends. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Before I present this, Cal, I just want to say, you know, I've known you for several years now from working on the zoning board years ago up until now. Whew. You got us going.
Thank you for your service to the town. Absolutely. You know, one of the things that makes our town and our municipal workers, I think, so wonderful to engage with and work with is the relationship that they have with the residents, understanding, as we've said before, that we always try to be a resident-friendly town. So we appreciate what you've done in the office and the work you've done. And that's not an easy office to work in. Obviously, people have a lot of questions, and it's technical in its approach. But thank you for your service.
What Kevin said. So thank you, Callie. I don't know if anyone else has any other comments you'd like to offer.
Well, my first role serving the people of Chatham Township was on the planning board, Callie, and your warmth and welcoming, your understanding, your walking me through certain steps that were new for me. I appreciate everything you did. And when you talk about the people working with the residents, that's really what makes all the difference in our township, and it's because of folks like you. You're a real gem, and we're going to miss you. So thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you.
And if I may, yes. Callie, it's been an absolute pleasure in the 16 years that I've been here and had the pleasure of working with you. Everybody here should know that I put on a few pounds since I started 16 years ago, and Callie's responsible for some of those with her baked goods at the holidays. Absolutely wonderful cook and baker, and we're all going to miss that. I made a comment at our luncheon that we had for Callie last week that I'd like to repeat tonight, and that is that in 2016 it seems perfectly appropriate to comment that immigration works. Callie immigrated from Greece as a young woman with her husband Pete, and it was certainly America's gain. And I want to thank you for coming here and for all that you've done for us for the past 28 years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cal, if you want to come up and the committee can join me as well. Anyone but your family? Here's your Cal.
Pete, come on.
You're on. Pete, your family.
Set the bar very high, Cal.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Official.
Our next item on the agenda, as some of you may have seen, is a proclamation recognizing our volunteers. You'll notice that the chamber here is a little more crowded than usual. It's because we're filled with some great people. And this proclamation is Volunteer Appreciation Month, and I'll read it, and we'll then ask our volunteers to please join us as well. Come forward, pass the mic around, you can introduce yourself. say where you volunteer, how you contribute on behalf of the community, and we'll do a photo. Whereas the Township of Chatham is blessed to have hundreds of volunteers who deserve to be recognized for their hard work and dedication on behalf of our grateful community. And whereas these individuals volunteer thousands of hours each year, whether it's serving as first responders, coaching youth sports, raising funds and awareness for our athletic programs, education in schools, or supporting our seniors, the environment, or serving our local government on a committee or board. And whereas the Township of Chatham is committed to encouraging community involvement among its residents and encourages them to put their hearts into volunteerism and do their part to build a better Chatham. And whereas the Township of Chatham recognizes that volunteering improves our quality of life, increases community participation, and is one of the many reasons Chatham Township is a great place to live and raise a family. And whereas we are eternally grateful to the women, men, and youth who utilize their time and talent to make a difference in the lives of our community. Now, therefore, I, Kurt Ritter, Mayor of the Township of Chatham, do hereby proclaim April as Volunteer Appreciation Month in the Township of Chatham and urge my fellow citizens to thank our volunteers and recognize them for their dedication and commitment on behalf of Chatham Township. So to all of you out there, here in the room, to those of you watching at home, just want to say personally thank you. This proclamation is just but a small token of recognition for all that you do and give of yourselves to make our town the great place that it is. So thank you.
Thank you.
If you guys... If you're a volunteer, I ask you to please stand and come forward. We've got a cordless mic. Committee members, you want to come down as well. You can come on forward here. I think we do. Come on forward. Come on, Peggy.
Right over here.
You go, Peggy.
There you go, proclamation. Okay. Thank you. Tom, thank you. Thank you.
You guys come on over.
Free parking, isn't that Thank you. Well, I'm going with
Kathy.
Are you Chatham? Which one are you? Which, are you on the board?
Oh, yeah. Now, you guys come on over. Come around. Both sides.
It was 5.
Thank you. Very well. Hey, guys. Happy day. Hey, sir?
We got the word out there. Everybody had commitments.
First, front here. All right, so we're just going to go around here, and if everyone can just introduce yourself for those at home, those in the audience here, who you are, what you do, and thank you. We'll start on this end with Pete.
I get to start. I'm Peter McNally, been a resident here for almost 3 years. I volunteer as a soccer and baseball coach, and I'm on the Joint Rec Committee.
Joe Basralian on behalf of our terrific Open Space Advisory Committee.
Steve Carroll, I'm the Vice Chair of the Chatham Township Environmental Commission and Chair of the Green Team.
Dot Stillinger, Environmental Commission.
John Nachtigal, Board of Health. Sorry. And I've been on the board for, I found out 13 years as I went to do all my shredding at the Green Village Firehouse. I found my original appointment. So the time just accumulates very rapidly. Thank you.
My name is Wes Zeliff. I've been a resident of the borough for over 20 years. I'm a trustee and president of the Chatham Athletic Foundation. one of just a lot of really great, hardworking folks with that particular organization.
My name is Amir Moulin. I'm a 10th grader at Chatham High School, and I'm part of Jersey STEM, which brings computer science and STEM education to children in Chatham.
Kathy Abbott. I volunteer with Safe Routes to School and Chatham Girl Scouts.
Amanda Feeman, and I'm co-chair of Safe Routes to School, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees for the Chatham Education Foundation, and I'm also on the board for Education Counts.
Hi, I'm Stacy Ewald. I'm with the Chatham Education Foundation, and we fundraise in the community for the benefit of our Chatham Public Schools.
Hi, I'm Amy Coates. I've been active in the Chatham Rec for softball for 16 years as either a coach or a manager, and I'm on the Board of Trustees of the Chatham Education Foundation.
Hi, I'm Tony Bavona, 17-year resident of the Township, 3-year resident of the Borough, and I am chairman of the Board of Adjustment.
I'm Tom Franco. I'm the chair of the Planning Board.
I'm Peggy Nelson. I'm a 50-year resident of Chatham Township, and I'm representing the Library of the Chathams.
I'm Marielle Kolker. I'm on the Board of Trustees of the Chatham Education Foundation and also on the board of the Education Counts Foundation.
I'm Nabil Moulin. I'm with Rosemary Cohn and Peter Tarandis with Jersey STEM. There are those of us who volunteer time, but I would like to recognize those in our community that donate space or resources, and Rosemary and Mike Cohn are some of those people in our community.
Bob Evans from the Chatham Township Fire Department, 42-year member.
Steve Sikora, Chatham Township Volunteer Fire Department.
Matt Chase, I'm captain with the Chatham Township Volunteer Fire Department.
And I'm Matt Goldwich. I'm the chief of the Chatham Township Volunteer Fire Department. Great. Well, thank you again, everyone, for being here. We'll try to do a group photo here. It's a little unwieldy, but if we could try to squeeze in, and Ed, Tom, Alex, put your wide-angle lenses on, and we'll see what we can do here. Come on in, Pete. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go. There we go. Three rows.
Right in the middle. Everyone hold up your proclamation.
No need to do that.
We'll work with it.
Lots of luck.
All right, well, thank you very much, everyone. Is that?
Yeah, I love it. Oh, yeah. No, she's really more than we can do.
Take it.
Nice to see you. Still. Right. Get my purse. Oh, that's perfectly all right.
Of course, you're all more than welcome to stick around.
Yeah, great.
Moving along, we'll move on to reports. I'll start with you, Mike.
Nothing to report tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Bob? No report tonight. All right. Karen?
Well, I do have a few things to report, actually. One of the major things we have to report on is our recent power outage. JCP&L reported 92,000 residents without power over the last windstorm, and we in the northern end of the township felt like we were among the last ones to be restored. But we really did have a good working relationship. Once the power outages are called in, once the people who are without service come forth and really tell us what's going on, we are able to channel the right people. So when we run into a situation where you are without power, don't assume somebody else is calling it in. Make sure you call it in, talk to the appropriate people. I noticed on the township website that there's actually a click-through right to the JCP&L outage report website as well. I just noticed that today, and I noticed so much social media and so much correspondence out there regarding those, regarding that issue specifically. We have a couple of save the dates for our senior center. First of all, they are open one more time for tax preparation. That's the 14th. And an appointment is necessary, but they will help you with tax preparation for no charge, our senior center. And we have save the date April 30th, their annual shred event, which is at the Chatham train station. It's been in other locations over the years. Please remember April 30th at the Chatham train station for the shred-a-thon, and their garden tour June 3rd and 4th. So we're working on that. We've had some conversations with our Department of Public Works. They are cleaning up some storm debris, and I guess that's a good thing because mulch was actually in a little bit of a shortage this year. So the more storm debris we have, the more mulch we'll have for next year. The compost is open, so if you do have cleanup to do on your property, you can bring your storm damaged and your debris down to the town compost heap. They have taken orders for mulch, which will begin delivery on April 15th. And if you have any questions, please do call the Public Works Department. Our govdeals.com website is open for just another couple of days. They have all of our retired machinery and some automobiles up for auction. Every one of the items on the auction has a bid on it, so we will be able to move that stuff out of our inventory. The drainage on Wickham Woods, I was thinking maybe John Rushke would be here to discuss it, but that is underway also. And our spring sports season has started, so our fields are in pretty great shape considering all the things, all the rain that we've had over the last couple of days. We're going to put our Nashville drainage to the test. We're looking forward to a great season there. And that's about what I got. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Kevin?
No reports, just an announcement. Once again, the Chatham Township Historical Society will have a presentation this Sunday on the Lenape, Delaware heritage. It'll be here at the Municipal Building in the back room, 2 p.m. Speaker is John Kraft, and he is the director of Lenape Lifeways Educational Programs. So there are always great presentations, and I encourage everyone to come out and learn a little something about the Lenape. Also in the spirit of National Volunteer Month, Tuesday, April 19th, at the Summit Free Public Library, not to be confused with the Summit, not free, but the Summit Free Public Library, 7:30 to 9, there'll be a presentation on Clara Barton. Tom, you know Clara Barton, right? That's right. She is the founder of the American Red Cross, and sure to be a great presentation. Known as the Angel of the Battlefield from Civil War time frame, and it is put on by the Daughters of the American Revolution. So that's all I have.
I could have actually answered that question.
I was just checking.
I neglected to mention save the date also for our Environmental Commission, and perhaps Dot will talk about that if she wants to. It's our 14th annual open space work day. It's April 23rd at our Green Pond Conservation Site, which is on Green Village Road. And there's a lot of work to do. And even though we're there a lot, once a year anyway, there's always an amazing bit of cleanup to be done back there. So that's also a save the date, Saturday, April 3rd, rain or shine, 9:30 a.m., April 23rd. Thank you, Your Honor.
Great. Thank you, guys. There's a few items on my list here. In terms of the Communications Committee, I think everyone saw that the newsletter went out last week. We're going to be issuing a website survey, as we've been talking about in the past couple of months. We're in the process of redesigning the website itself, so we're going to be putting a survey out to all residents to take the survey. Give us your feedback in terms of what you like, what you don't like, how we can improve it, and the like. So look for that in the coming weeks. We've got the next installment of our Chatham Township Perspectives video series going to be coming out shortly. Tom Salvis in the back there has been working with this. As we said earlier, it's going to feature Rich Young and the fine men and women of the DPW department. So look forward to that. As Karen had indicated, with the windstorm, we saw increased activity on our Facebook and Twitter pages, social media pages. It was a great opportunity for us to get quick news, immediate news out to residents, and I just encourage everyone who's listening in, reading the news stories and all the rest, to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. It's a great way to stay up to date in terms of breaking news in the township itself. And then, as we said, in tandem with the Volunteer Appreciation Month, throughout this month we are recognizing the various community organizations on our social media pages, just to give added attention to them for their hard work, and also to help people get a better understanding of who they are and opportunities if they want to volunteer with these organizations, who to contact and the like. On the Colony Pool Committee, I think all residents should have received our Colony postcard by now. That went out to all residents. In addition, we have posters again this year that are going out to all local businesses to promote the club. Encourage anyone who has an interest in attending or becoming a member this year to visit the website. It's thecolonypoolclub.org. It's going to be a great year, as we said in the past. A lot of new social activities for adults and children alike. Public Safety Committee, just remind folks that the speed limit on Lafayette is 25 miles an hour. I know that the police department has stepped up enforcement of the area there, so be mindful. 25 means 25, not 35 or 45. If you do, you'll find out the consequences. Separately, obviously this past week was the opening of baseball. It was throughout the first pitch. Also went to visit Southern Boulevard School, third grade class with Congressman Frelinghuysen. It was a great opportunity to hear from our young constituents in terms of what's on their mind, and so it was a great opportunity. So I thank Principal Gardella and teacher Miss Scudarelli for hosting us, and it was great. In terms of the Financial Audit Committee, Mike and I met with our auditors earlier this evening. It was a great meeting. It was I think people might recall, we've switched auditors this year, and these folks came back, and the quote was basically, you've got a very well-run town. It's in good shape. They're going to be presenting their findings to the total committee at our next meeting. I think they provided some great insight in terms of best practices that we can continue to do here in the township, and I commend Deb and Tom for doing a great job with the books, and everyone in the township for their help in keeping the town running so well, as it were. And again, obviously, with the auditors coming in at the next meeting, I just want to remind folks, we have made a concerted effort, I think, over the past 2 years to really pull back the curtain in terms of the budget process, in terms of our finances, and help people and residents understand where their tax dollars are being spent. So I think it's another great opportunity to once again pull back that curtain, show that quote-unquote transparency that some people have asked for, and really understand how the finances are done here in the township. So I think everyone should look forward to that presentation at our next meeting. John unfortunately can't be here tonight, but some items on his end. The drainage project at Wickham Woods is now complete. The paving is under contract, and we hope to begin that soon. We recently received a grant for the Woodland Road project. It's a sidewalk project by Geralda in the amount of $138,000. And that is everything I have on my end. Pass it over to Tommy. Do you want to say anything? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to bring everybody up to date on our parking issues on Delwood Avenue. The chief and I surveyed the area quite extensively, and We're looking to amend the current ordinance on the north side, where it says no parking 8 to 6 and no parking 7 to 10. We would like to amend that to 3-hour parking during school days only. And on the south side, we would like to keep the current signage there, just add a few more signs. The current signage there is no parking 8 to 4, school days only. And that would be our recommendation to solve the problem.
Okay, well, I guess we'll have to introduce an ordinance at the next meeting after. Well, I think we all agreed it's been an issue, and we can open it up for discussion once the ordinance is introduced. But
You know, I hate to be the contrarian all the time, but I don't know what the issue is. I was out there again today at 12:30, and from the crosswalk behind the school to Longwood Avenue, there wasn't a single car parked on either side of the road. That's the township part of Delwood.
At 12:30.
So, at 12:30 this afternoon. There was no one there, and there never is.
I think the issue is pickup, 3:30.
But how does no parking address that?
What's the issue? You've got double parking.
The issue is at drop-off. Apparently, several parents are dropping off the students on both sides of the road, and even though there's a crossing guard there, they tend to just run in the street. So if we limit it, run across the street, and if we limit it to one side of drop-off, that would be the 3-hour parking, it would alleviate the children running across the street.
So the hour of concern is 8:30?
Both. I believe it's 8 to 9, and then again in the afternoon.
So it's drop off and pick up.
Drop off and pick up.
Right.
I mean, you get both sides of the street are utilized at this point,
Correct.
even though it says no parking.
Correct.
And the idea is here to force people to stay on one side.
To stay on the north side, the school side, so the children aren't running across the street.
Could you repeat what those signs are going to say on both the north side and the south side, Lieutenant?
The south side will stay the same. The south side currently reads no parking 8 to 4 p.m., school days only, and that's from the crosswalk all the way to Longwood Avenue. We would just have to add a few signs, and we're looking
But what you're saying, Lieutenant, excuse me, is people are already violating that.
Yes.
Right. So, I mean, what you're recommending doesn't really accomplish or solve the problem unless there's someone there or enforcement to back it up.
Well, the signs are conflicting. What they have in Chatham Borough and what they have on our side are somewhat conflicting. And our signage does not start at the crosswalk. It starts further down. So we're going to add a sign towards the crosswalk, because that tends to be the problem area.
Yeah,
So
I think I'm still not following you. If a car is traveling in the morning from Longwood, heading north on the township end of Delwood, and they're going to be dropping off a kid to go into the back of the school, where can they stop?
They can't drop off on that side unless they go into Chatham.
What are they supposed to do? U-turn and park on the other side? That's not a desirable move.
Or enter the other way.
Yeah, they would have to come in through the other
Or
way.
what?
Yeah.
Come up Longwood. They'd have to come up down Fairview up Longwood.
Right.
So they're going to go down Longwood to Lafayette, make a right on Lafayette, right on Fairview to come around the back? That's not happening. That can happen.
They're not going to double park. That's the point. I mean, I think it's inconvenience versus safety from my perspective. If a mom or a dad or a nanny has to drive an extra 2 minutes out of the way for the safety factor.
But Mayor, they're not parking, and there's a difference.
Well, and none of them will admit to
parking.
parking.
It's
They're
stopping,
not
standing, there's different regulations.
I've been out there both pickups, drop-offs in the morning, and pickup in the afternoon. Your car can be idle and say it's standing versus parking. As far as I'm concerned, there's no difference between the two. A vehicle not in motion is stopped, and that's the issue, from what I hear and from what I've seen personally.
Will this bring the signs into agreement between the borough and the township, or are they still going to be different?
I currently do not know their plan. Chatham Borough is going to change their signage as well. I don't know what they're going to change it to. But I believe theirs is going to be different.
What is the better side to stop, if someone is going to stop and drop a child off? What is the better side?
The north side, the school side.
The school side.
Correct.
Great. Thanks, Tom. Any other questions?
Well, I'm just thinking that I'm confused about what constitutes parking versus stopping and standing. I would, if the intent is not to have people drop off on the south side, I think a sign that says no stopping, standing, or parking would be the way to go on that side of the street for those key hours. But and also I think it probably needs to agree with the borough, so we just to iron out the differences there. But I think something does need to be done, so I appreciate all the work that you're doing and the careful consideration.
Do you not lose line of sight? Is line of sight not more important? I'm thinking about the kid who's not getting picked up. He's crossing that street. Now all those cars are parked on the school side. He's darting through the cars all over the place, maybe, several in a fan, if there's cars lined up. Would you not be better served by having no parking on that side of the street so you can see as the children are entering or exiting and entering? And if cars are stopping there to drop children off, but obviously the parents are either getting out and walking them a portion or watching them cross the street. I'm just throwing it out. I don't know. But I'm just thinking line of sight. You know, the big problem with children, usually, you know, these incidents, if they get hurt, are running out between the car and not seeing what's coming.
If they're going to park on the school side, there's really no need to cross unless they're going to cross at the crosswalk to the path, which is covered by a crossing guard.
Okay, there's your answer.
What's that? I'm inclined to say that parking on the school side is probably the more dangerous also, because they're coming out, walking along the lines. They're not necessarily going directly to the crosswalk. To me, the school side is the dangerous side, and I would say no stopping or standing in the way Mike suggested. And I also wonder whether it's worth finding out from the borough and maybe coordinating what they're doing with what we're doing so that there's no...
I think that's already been done, right?
Yeah, I think we've
Well,
reached
no,
out to the
I think
borough.
Lieutenant Miller just said that
I think we tried
were-
to do that.
Yeah.
And I would have to go back and speak to my traffic safety officer and sit down with the chief again and see what they came
Yeah,
up
so
with.
that there's at least kind of a uniform thing. I mean, if you were going to look at the school side on the entire length of Delwood and say no stopping or standing during drop-off or pickup hours, you know, I don't see any reason to restrict why people shouldn't be able to park in front of their homes under ordinary circumstances, but not during drop-off and pickup. I just think that's probably the issue. But I think trying to get a cohesive response from the borough and the township makes sense on that, because it really is right. That path comes out right at the dividing line.
Right. It's not a very well-designed path by any means, but I'll discuss it with the chief again and
Great. Thank you.
revisit it.
Thank you. Tom?
I have nothing else, Mayor.
Nothing else?
I was going to cover what we covered for Rush Week.
All right. Moving on, we're going to go to some annual reports. The first up is our planning board, Tom Franco. If you want to come forward. Again, thank you again for your service.
Thank you.
You can sit down if you like, or...
Sitting down is always painful. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the Township Committee. As Chair of the Planning Board, I'd like to add our thanks to Callie for her fine service to our board, and I also want to thank the other members of our board who've worked so hard and diligently and intelligently to carry out what is needed for the township. I've given you a written form, but I'll just read through it, and if there's any questions, please let me know. As a general matter, the Planning Board, as you know, has two principal charges: the drafting and updating of the master plan for the township and the approval of subdivisions as defined by law. Given the generally built-out state of properties in the township, There's relatively little development, and most of that consists of developers who wish to take oversized lots and build 2 houses on a property that currently has only 1. As to the master plan, the Planning Board commenced a review of the circulation element of the plan in 2015 and asked an ad hoc committee of the board to work with Mr. Banish, the town's professional planner. The committee has reported on work on the revision. However, Morris County has also announced a revision to its circulation element, and then the review has been tabled until the county reports on its views. With respect to subdivisions and other actions that we took during the year, as I said, there's not many of them, but let's talk about some of those that we did. 35 Rose Terrace. This property offered several interesting aspects. Rose Terrace intersects with Chatham Street in the borough, and at that point there's a paper street that had been used as a walkway. There's also a Chatham Township facility across Chatham Street in a wooded area. The developer proposed that the current house be removed and the 2 houses be built on the location. Several variances were required. The board worked diligently with the developer and came out for a site visit. In the end, the board recognized the unique aspects of the site, including the nature of the surrounding properties, many of which are in the borough, and improved a plan that would enhance the area. 255 Green Village Road. At this site, at the intersection of Green Village Road and Shunpike Road, most Chathamites will recognize the current gas station. The developer has proposed that the existing building be altered to include a convenience store and that the gas pumps will continue while doing away with the current repair bays. The board had many questions for the developer regarding the hours of operation, the products to be sold, and traffic circulation. Currently, the proposal is under review by Morris County since the property is at the intersection of 2 state roads. 697 Fairmount Avenue. In many respects, this subdivision is the prototype of what Chatham Township will see in the future. The developer presented a lot that is currently occupied by a single house. The lot was apparently graded many years ago to place the lot on a flat area with steep slopes both in front and to the rear that appear man-made. The developer wanted to divide the current property into 2 lots, each of which were larger than required by zoning. The board worked with the developer to create a good solution. The board had public comment, mostly regarding Sunset Terrace and surrounding properties. There was also discussion of the wisdom of an environmental easement, which was finally found to be undesirable. The Township Committee may wish to make note of the potential for further issues regarding man-made steep slopes. And finally, just a very short item, Geralda Farms. The owner of the office building is at Geralda Farms, asked for a variance for the construction of a fence between its property and new open space which it adjoins, and that request was granted. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much. Next up, from the Zoning Board of Adjustment, Tony Vivona.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
You want to come down and sit, or you want to stand? Your preference. Okay.
I'm just going to read our quick review. As reflected in the Board of Adjustment's Annual Report 2015 was another busy year. There were 18 applications approved for residential properties, which involve the following types of variances: front yard setback 6, side yard setback 6, combined side yard setbacks 1, rear yard setback 6, setback 2 and height of accessory structure 6, maximum principal structure coverage 4, maximum impervious lot coverage 2, height of principal structure 2, steep slope disturbances, all categories 3, lot grading from property line to foundation 7, retaining wall 7, driveway width to side entry garage 1, and use variance to prevent use of a construction trailer 1. Wherever possible, the board requests that applicants minimize variance requirements and address concerns raised by the public. By example, applications for development of the remaining undeveloped lots on Susan Drive reflected reduced dwelling dimensions with heights as viewed from the street to be equal to or less than neighboring homes. Retaining walls were eliminated and approvals were conditioned on easements to enable approved retaining walls to tie into future retaining walls when adjoining lots were developed. Steep slopes, which impact how height is measured, created hardship conditions justifying height variance relief. One required a C variance at a height of 38.5 feet, 10% above the 35-foot height standard. The other required a D variance, which, with plan revisions, was reduced to height to only exceed the C variance by a little over 1 foot. Requests for steep slope disturbance variances are reviewed very carefully with strict engineering controls and staging imposed as conditions of approval to reduce impacts during construction. Conditions of approval also require pre-construction meetings with the township engineer and monitoring before and after storm events. Where recommended by the Township Environmental Commission, applicants are requested to grant conservation easements to the township to permanently protect steep slopes following construction. 15 of the residential applications were made by individual homeowners. The common aim was to improve, expand, or build new homes to remain in the township and its great neighborhoods. Pursuant to the board's jurisdiction, where use variances and variances from conditional use standards are requested, the board granted site plan approvals for 5 properties. The farm at Green Village, that's a market garden conditional use standard variance. Chatham Day School, an extension of a prior approval of the amended site plan for an addition requiring variance from conditional use parking standards. Gloria Day Lutheran Church, 2 extensions of approval for the AT&T and T-Mobile temporary tower, which had required use and height variances, and the PSE&G tower at 200 Shun Pike Road, use and height variances for AT&T telecommunications facilities relocated on a new tower previously approved by the board for a removed tower. Concerning PSE&G towers, the board seeks to limit impacts of ground structures for telecommunication facilities, moving them as far as possible from adjacent residences. Noise issues are addressed by the board's acoustic engineer. Since PSE&G will not permit the coaxial cables on the sides of the towers to be painted to match the towers, the board has required an available gray cable to be used rather than a black one. The board held 12 regular meetings, 3 special meetings, and 1 work meeting. Monthly site inspections were conducted on Saturday mornings. In addition to reviewing the applicant's properties, the inspections give board members insight into the character of the neighborhoods and the impacts of development throughout the township. A concern identified during the inspections is the impact on neighborhoods of massive homes on lots which are being redeveloped. Accordingly, in adopting the annual report, the board recommended that consideration be given to adopting ordinances regulating the massiveness of homes constructed when properties are redeveloped to promote a desirable visual environment and the preservation of a variety of housing. Ordinance mechanisms which could be considered include a residential floor area ratio ordinance and an ordinance establishing a ratio of lot width to side yard setbacks. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tony. Questions?
What's the procedure for those kinds of recommendations? Do they go to the planning board first? Do they go to the township committee first? Tony's final thoughts there about.
I think it went to you first.
Okay. I think it's a good issue to be looked at. So thank you very much.
Yeah, we're trying to keep a variety of housing available to new residents of Chatham to take advantage of our school and our town. But right now, the homes are just multi-million-dollar homes that not everyone can afford, and it does not give our town the variety of residents we would like, in our opinion.
But Mike, I think certainly the Township Committee can refer any recommendations for zoning regulation changes to the Planning Board for their review. Because if you originated it here, you could certainly introduce an ordinance to amend the zoning regulations, but you have to send it to the Planning Board for review anyway. So my suggestion is if there's things in those recommendations that you're interested in, you forward it to the Planning Board for their review.
I would like to say that we put that on maybe put it on a future agenda just to think about it and then
have a discussion further.
Yeah.
Great.
That'd be great.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony.
Next up, from our Open Space Advisory Committee, Joe Bazzarelli.
Thank you. There's a short half-pager probably in your booklet that I'll use. Joe Bazzarelli, Chatham Township. The goal of the Open Space Committee is probably shared by everyone in this room, and it's to help Chatham Township continue to be one of the finest and most desirable communities to live in New Jersey. As our way, we are tasked with helping in that mission by advising the Township Committee on implementing the open space element of the master plan. That open space element through and through is always our guide. And it's quite helpful to reread every year because there's a lot of really helpful material in it, as you know. So I'd like to spend just 90 seconds on 2015 and maybe 3 or 4 minutes on 2016. In 2015, the Open Space Committee assisted the Township Committee in the ultimate preservation of Giralda Farms, as you know. We also assisted in a really successful opening day ceremony for that property, so well deserved by the achievement that was created. We also launched the Giralda Farms Preserve Facebook page, which now has 900 members. And if you scroll down it, it's a lot of fun. People who I've never even heard of post pictures and say what a great time they had. Moving to the other side of town, we just call it informally the Averett property. It's the property that the township owns along Hillside Avenue and River Road, 17 acres. We worked hard to plan a trail, about a quarter-mile figure-8 loop trail, which is in process this year. Thank you for being a partner in that. And also, we successfully conducted a litter cleanup, several litter cleanups at the Hillside property. And I challenge anyone to find a piece of litter at the Everett property. And the reason I'm challenging you is if you do find it, you can just pick it up. So to 2016, our goal is, firstly, to further assist the township in creating positive developments at the Giralda Farms Preserve property. Developments like signage, light features such as seating and benches and maybe even sort of a passive overlook. And there are other ideas that have been circulated to further improve the ability of and new trails to further improve the ability of the public to enjoy that wonderful property. Along those lines, I'm not sure that everyone knows, but you may, that one of our township residents, Vincent Matty, who's going for his Eagle Scouts, has been working successfully with the county to install several benches, including one by the pond for people to just be able to sit and take a load off and enjoy the property. And I understand that's going very well. He would have been here tonight, but he's not available tonight. In addition, second bullet point for 2016, we believe we'll complete work as a township on the development of that figure-8 trail at the Averett property along Hillside Avenue, just up from River Road. Thank you to you and to working with us so much on this. It's hard to find a trail route that really makes sense for everybody and that makes sense for the township governance as well. The DPW did a wonderful job actually doing the heavy lifting to clear out where there were a lot of fallen trees. And now, fortunately, thanks to Troop 8, Boy Scout Troop 8, a meeting tomorrow with one of their Eagle candidates who's interested in some of the elements of the trail creation project out at Averett. And there are about 5 elements, all of which have been discussed and shared with you, probably through Committeeman Kelly. What we're going to do is present it as sort of a menu for the scout so that it's the most exciting and interesting project for him, and the township volunteers organized by the Open Space Committee will help backfill and do the rest. So hopefully we won't be taking, we'll be giving the experience, and of course we'll all benefit. The third and fourth points were more vague, but we will continue to do our best to monitor undeveloped and lightly developed parcels of land in Chatham Township, which may or may not be really useful, beneficial, and valuable additions to open space use in the township. We monitor those passively, and if we want to monitor any of them actively, we tend to seek we always seek your counsel on going ahead with that. And fourth, we want to continue to be a resource for you, the Township Committee, and others in the town. So an open-ended resource, anything that may relate to the open space element of the master plan. We really love our members, members of the Open Space Committee, and everyone is gung-ho and smart and engaged and so easy to get in touch with and responsive, and it's a really nice committee, so thank you. That's my report.
Great, thank you, Joe. Anybody have any questions?
I do, actually. Joe, 2 or 3 times in your talk right now, you mentioned Eagle Scouts, and I know Kevin has had some inquiries, and I've had inquiries, and I'm wondering whether we can get something like an idea depot, or do you want them all calling you? Or
Any kind of
what is,
young person volunteer. It doesn't have to be Eagle. It can be
Right.
Gold. Yeah.
well, of course,
Yeah.
and the Gold Awards as well. And I know that given the luxury we have of open space, it does give young people ideas for projects like that. And you don't want them running around willy-nilly, putting down stakes and saying, I'm going to do this here.
And the first one to hear about it would get it, whereas someone who just didn't hear about it.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether it behooves us to put some sort of, like I said, an idea depot, or whether we have a point man. I know people have come to you. I know you have sort of vetted a few projects, but if there's a system.
That would be great. That'd be great. I think the system ought to, if you're not already thinking about it, it could go beyond open space projects. We'd love to contribute to a shared system, because there are all kinds of projects which the Open Space Committee doesn't know anything about. And, some of us just look for projects in our spare time. So
Right.
if we can volunteer in an open space capacity, or if I can volunteer, that's really exciting as just in just a general volunteer capacity to help the town create something like that would serve a lot of different project ideas that people have, or committees. That'd be fantastic. Imagine I could just thinking, you guys have already thought of it. So just going down a menu of the different categories of possible projects, maybe in some kind of a rank order about, or at least buckets, what we'd love to do now, what we'd love to do next year, how big the project would be. I'll bet there'd be all kinds of cool things.
And also, I think, a systematic way of addressing inquiries from motivated volunteers, because we certainly have an abundance of them, whether they are our scouts or people who see an open space and say butterfly farm, or things along those lines. How we would systematically guide them towards working as some sort of cohesive unit.
It's so within our power. There are online dating systems for millions of people to meet. There are online personal finance systems where you can take a loan for $100,000 or $1 million from people you never met. So I know we can create that. We're behind. It's within our power,
like
but
dating.
when it gets detailed, the details do get a little complicated to work out, but it's within our power. I mean, count me, or even our committee is. I'm sure there'd be at least one other person on the committee that'd love to help with that vision. But if we just have to create a list of project ideas that we have as a start, sure, we'll be happy to do that.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Great idea.
Yep. Well,
That's a
work
great
on it.
idea. That sounds like we could put it on our 2016 list, although I don't think
There's no
nobody.
shortage of ambition.
Right.
Everybody's always, not everybody, but we
Right.
have so many people looking to do something great with some of the assets that we have, so.
And in the volunteer call, I hope you all got your yellow cards. At least most of you got your yellow cards as well, because you're volunteering an enormous amount of time that
got yellow
everybody
cards for different
appreciates.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Just as liaison to the Open Space Committee, just congratulations to Joe and to a great committee to represent the Township Committee too. It's a good group.
Thank you, Mike. Next up is our Environmental Commission. Scott Stillinger and
I'm Dot Stillinger, Chair of the Chatham Township Environmental Commission. I'm going to immediately follow up on the remarks that were just made. We need a couple of volunteers to build us a bridge. We need a 20-foot wooden bridge over a stream so that we can open up another part of the Green Village Pond Conservation Area and extend our trail into some really very pretty woods. So if anybody's looking for a project, please consider getting in touch with the Environmental Commission, and we will work with you to help build this bridge. The first thing I want to say is to thank all the commissioners who attended meetings all year. We had 10 meetings. Most people attended most of them. The people on the Environmental Commission are Steve Carroll, who is also chair of the Green Team, George Crimmins, Frank Esposito, Marilyn Murray, Maureen Kelly, Matt Palmer, and Don Travisano from the Planning Board Liaison. it would be impossible for the commission to thank Callie too much. She was an invaluable resource. Every time we needed help with investigating some kind of development application or to look at plans, Callie was right there, responding almost before we got the words out of our mouth. Thank you so much. Thank you to Callie. The Environmental Commission also serves as the Green Team, and Steve Carroll, the chair of the Green Team, will present a few remarks after I finish my review here. The Commission reviews site plans. We keep an eye on what the developers are up to, and we attend meetings and we protest whenever we see anything we don't like. We send comments to legislators and boards, Board of Public Utilities, other state agencies when we see something that we don't like. In particular, the new proposed water quality rules, which would have allowed development in buffers next to our highest quality streams, those rules were something that we felt strongly should not happen. A lot of other people apparently thought the same way because the state legislature passed resolutions opposing what the DEP was planning to do, and the DEP is having to go back to the drawing board. We do projects. Among them are cooperating with the Chatham Borough to do a green team, a green fair in the fall. And of course, our Open Space Work Day, which is coming up on Saturday, April 23rd. Everybody's invited to come and just walk around and enjoy some free refreshments. We respond to residents and we respond to email. And the commissioners keep themselves busy. They go to meetings and trainings and stay up on what's going on. Our plans for 2016 is to do more of the same. We'd like to start work on a plan for monitoring conservation easements. There are about 60 properties in Chatham Township with conservation easements on them. About 40 of those those easements are held by Chatham Township. We have never, in our walking around, have seen any serious problems on any of these conservation easements, with the exception of Susan Drive, and there were a lot of issues there that beyond just the conservation easement. But nevertheless, since Chatham Township does hold those easements, there probably should be some plan for at least once in a while going out and taking a look. We'll do all our same projects, but we're going to keep a close eye on the proposed Pilgrim Pipeline development. There are signs that the Pilgrim Pipeline people are becoming more active in the background. So we'll watch that. And something I think we probably will take a look at this year is putting a trail from the post office to Nash Field. You'd have to cross the road from the post office, but almost directly across from the post office, maybe a short couple hundred feet down the road, is Chatham Township property, and there's a real possibility of putting a trail from there to Nash Field. The DEP wetlands regulations allow hand-created trails, people walking in with wheelbarrows and wood chips, and I think we could take a look at that. And finally, before I turn the microphone over to Steve Carroll, I want to make some acknowledgments. The Township Committee has been supportive of everything the Green Team or the Environmental Commission has tried to do as long as I've been associated with the Environmental Commission, which is 18 years. Time goes by fast when you're having fun. The Township Committee has just said yes to everything we've ever asked. You guys couldn't have been better. I want to thank our sponsors who help us with the Green Village Pond Conservation Area cleanup. Chatham Disposal has been just wonderful about coming by the Monday after our Saturday workday and picking up the bags of trash that we leave by the side of the road. They've done this for years, including back when we used to work along the river down at the bottom of Snake Hill. Just a word to them and presto, like magic, they help us. The ShopRite of Chatham, for every year since we've been doing our workday, which was, this will be the 14th year, they have donated supplies to us. So ShopRite just has to be praised. A rental company in Bernardsville, Ken Rent, has supplied balloons to us to help us add a festive touch to the occasion. And Woodland Tree in Madison, for a number of years, has donated wood chips to us to help us with our workday. I want to thank ANJEC, the Association of New Jersey Environmental Commissions, for responding very helpfully whenever we've needed their assistance. And I want to thank the commissioners one more time for showing up at all those meetings and doing work to help us further our project. Now, I want to introduce Steve Carroll. He's a longtime resident of Chatham Township who, for the past 9 years, has taken on the daunting task of leading the Green Team. And for 3 times, he succeeded in getting Sustainable Jersey certification for Chatham Township, virtually single-handed. The rest of us have all chipped in, but you just could not ask for a more dynamic, active, energetic leader than Steve Carroll. So I'm going to let Steve talk a little bit about how he did that and how he achieved 180 points this time for Sustainable Jersey when we really only needed 150. So please, let's listen to what Steve has to say.
Thank you, Dot.
I'm going to hand out copies of this. I'm sure you emailed this, but I think it would be helpful if you had Steve. My report is in the back of this, but you can follow along as Steve talks to you about the Green Team.
Thanks.
And Sustainable Jersey. Everybody else want to look? Nice to see you. You okay?
I need to start by saying, disagreeing with Don about the effort of the Green Team. It was certainly a we project, and certainly we also thank the Township Committee for all the resolutions and support you gave us whenever we needed something done for our actions. The Green Team report for 2015 is before you. We spent the first half of the year completing actions to qualify for Sustainable Jersey certification. The 17 actions we submitted are listed in that report. We submitted our applications in June, and Chatham Township was awarded the bronze level recertification in October. The recertification will last until 2018. Since June, we have been considering our course toward 2018. 3 issues need to be addressed: certification level, leadership, and the value of participation in the Sustainable Jersey program itself. There are 2 kinds of certification: bronze, which requires 150 actions that lead to 150 points of credit, or silver, for 350 points. As indicated in this report, the Green Team's plans are based on going for bronze. But a few communities throughout the state, and quite notably our neighboring Chatham borough, have gone for silver. So, as I say, we plan on bronze
Silver is a huge effort, requires multiple resources more than you and we have put into this so far. But the Township Committee has a voice in this, and if you are uncomfortable with us looking at bronze, we need to know. So I'd just like you to ponder that over the year. It would be a huge commitment, but it's still, it is part, you have a position in that. In 2008, the Township Committee designated me as representative of the Sustainable Jersey, and I have served as chair of the Green Team since then and through 3 certifications. I let the Green Team know that I am happy to continue working on the project, but I will not continue as Sustainable Jersey representative and Green Team chair. So far, no one on the Green Team has been willing to accept that position, and our deliberations have ranged from ways to repackage the role to questions about the value of remaining in the Sustainable Jersey program itself. Again, I've closed by you are involved in that. We welcome your suggestions, your preferences, and any views you can give us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Don. Does anyone have any questions?
I would just like to say that it really is a pleasure to serve with the folks on the Environmental Commission and the Green Team. They are passionate about what they do. They are the line of defense in many cases against overdevelopment of many of our natural resources, and they really are looking out for all of us when it comes to issues like water, when it comes to issues like land use, when it comes to protecting so much of our natural resources. And it takes passionate people to stay on top of that, and you and the rest of the crew on the Environmental Commission are every bit of passionate for protecting our natural resources here in the township. So on behalf of all of us, and I really think on behalf of a grateful community, I hope you'll accept my thanks. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Moving on, we're now going to open up for the hearing of citizens. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to be heard about issues which are not topics scheduled for public hearings tonight. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit time for all to be heard, speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. So open it up now. And please state your name and address.
Mary Rowe, 65 Highland Avenue, Chatham Borough. I'm just here on behalf of the skate park. We're excited to hear that the materials were ordered to repair the park, and there have been numerous residents asking us, since we do have a Facebook page, when the park is going to be opened. And you know, it's been closed since December, and the weather has been pretty mild this winter, and so people are just really excited for the park to open. And we would like to help facilitate communication between the township and the users. And I was really excited earlier when I heard that you guys have a Facebook page and you have a Twitter account. And you know, when the park was closed, nobody was notified. And you know, if we didn't come to the meetings and inquire, there would be no way for users to be able to know, is the park open, is the park closed? You know, some people don't live around the corner. You know, they have friends who live in town and they come and visit, and it's nice for the public to be able to know, you know, if the park is opened or closed without actually physically driving by. So we have our Facebook page that we can assist, but I would definitely encourage the township to think about, you know, including those types of things in the resources that you already have in your toolbox, whether it be on the web page or on the Facebook. I mean, I don't know if the skateboarders are following Chatham Township, but maybe if they knew that there would be, they're not even, kids these days aren't even on Facebook. You need an Instagram account if you want to reach the kids. But
coming soon.
But the point is that people have been reaching out to us because when they Google Chatham Skate Park, our thing kind of pops up, and a lot of them have been frustrated that there has been virtually, I don't think there's been any communication by the township to the community as to why the park has been closed already now 4 months, except for what, we've been able to glean from calling township committee members, calling Tom, coming to meetings. But, other residents who call, I'm not sure if they're even able to get any information.
Thank you, Mary.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I would just recommend, worst case scenario, people can always just rely on the old faithful phone and pick up the phone and call the township.
Yeah, that works.
That works.
We've had lots of people call and ask if it's open or when it's going to be reopened, and we tell them.
so what is the date that we can tell people that it's
We
going to
don't
be
have a
open?
specific date. There was an email today, I think
Yes,
you
I
were
saw it.
copied on.
Mhm.
We're
So-
hoping to have delivery of the materials next week. I anticipate probably a couple of weeks' worth of labor from the Public Works Department, and we're shooting for being open the beginning of May. And if it can happen sooner, great, but right now, that's our best estimate.
And when the park is open, will someone, do I have to be driving past ShopRite, or will somebody send me an email to say the park is going to be open?
Mary, we might consider a ribbon cutting ceremony, make some more publicity out of this.
Yeah.
And that way everyone will know what's
Great.
going on. We'll be sure to publicize it on Facebook pages and everything
We can send
else.
out an Everbridge also, that the skate park is open. An Everbridge message is if you're signed up for community alerts. You have to be
Okay.
signed up for community alerts.
Okay.
But we can certainly send that out when the park is open.
Okay,
That's
great.
easy enough.
Great. Well,
Tom,
thank you.
does the whole thing need repairs, or can we just rope off, is there just one or two?
No, there's
each
no way,
direction?
no way to isolate it. It's various pieces of the equipment. And all we're addressing right now are the skating apparatus, the actual pieces. The surface cracks, that's something that's still in John Rushke's hands to address. So we're looking to fix the ramps and the pieces, and once those are done, we will reopen it even before we fix the cracks in the skating surface itself.
Great, thank you. And thank you, Mary, for your dedication and interest in the park.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anyone else wish to come forward?
Hi, Kathy Abbott, Chatham Township. I'm talking as a Safe Routes to School member, yes? 40 Wynwood Road. And as you know, I was on the Safe Routes to School committee before I was a township committee person, and now my daughter goes to same school where Kurt's daughter is at Lafayette School. And so I'm at Delwood in the afternoon. I just want to clarify 2 points. Thank you for discussing it. Thanks the police for bringing it up, and all of you for considering the safety aspects. Appreciate that very much, Kurt, for your, emphasizing the predominance of safety over convenience if there's any need to change sides of the street for parking. And the thing is, if you're there at 3:30, I just want to quantify, I've counted the cars many times. There's at least 30 cars at a time, and with the flow, there could be up to 50 cars just in the half an hour after school. So there's nothing. It's a quiet residential street, and you just have a burst of activity. And in that burst of activity, you could easily have a child being hurt. That's all it takes, obviously, for traffic accidents. And but I also appreciate your analysis of the situation, which is that, well, why are people complying with the side of the street parking? And the lieutenant said it was because of the people don't know, because on the borough side, I just want to emphasize that the borough side is allowable parking on both sides. The signs allow it. So there's just no, in your visual, if you're coming down the street from the township side, you see parking on both sides, and it feels like you should be able to park on both sides because other cars are already parking on both sides. But the line is right in the middle, as we all know, right at the crosswalk. So I think we just need to agree with the borough on which is the right side, because it's a visual cue. The signs are almost secondary. You just follow other cars. So we want to agree with the borough which side is the proper side. And the traffic safety officer in the borough said that normally the proper side, according to traffic safety manuals, is the school side. But I agree with Kevin's point that since the children are coming out and looking for their parents, and I think, Karen, you mentioned it too, really, it seems like they should be able, if they're walking home or walking to a car, it seems like they should be free to walk down the road where they come out from school and cross over if they have to, going up the path up to Washington Avenue. So those are the issues. I'm not asking for a decision, but consider those, please, because It's absolutely a safety hazard. One of the main things that, in knowing about pedestrian safety, is that children are most likely to be, well, I don't know most likely, but very likely to have a problem being seen when they're crossing between cars. So if you have cars on both sides of the road, they're actually walking on the lawn until they get to their parents' car, which may be on the other side of the road. So they're coming between the parked cars where they're walking and crossing to the parked cars on the other side. And so the cars that are passing through, even if it's fairly slowly, don't see them until they're in the road. So we need one side of the road to have visual clearance so it's clear the children are there. Even if there's no nice white line like I was hoping for on Washington Avenue. I can see there's a problem with the white line because then you're saying no parking for the residents all day long on that side. And we wanted to serve the residents as little as possible. But we need a clear side of the road. This is where I walk. This is where the children walk and the adults walk. This is where the cars park.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kathy. Does anybody else wish to come forward? All right, we'll close out the hearing of citizens. The next item up is ordinance 2016-12, summer recreation fees. It's an ordinance of the Township of Chatham, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, establishing fees for the summer recreation playground program. Open it up for hearing of citizens. Seeing no one come forward, any discussion from the members? Do I have a motion to introduce? To adopt, I'm sorry. Second?
Second.
Mr. Gallup?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mrs. Schwartz?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sullivan?
Yes.
And Mayor Ritter.
Yes. Moving on, we have the consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions on the consent agenda after Greg reads it?
This evening we have Resolution 2016-93, payment of bills, 2016-94, approving meeting minutes, 2016-95, approving executive session minutes, 2016-96, joint council agreement, and 2016-97, approving social affair permit.
Thank you, Greg. Anybody have any questions?
Maybe if Tom could just give a recap of the joint council agreement, just for us and for the public first.
I would suggest Mr. Gallup do that.
Sure. We've been working with surrounding towns regarding the Pilgrim pipeline, and we have reached a consensus that there's a desire to have a council that would assist us in various issues as the pipeline issue goes forward. There's some initial issues that we want to address regarding the legality of a couple of issues that are pending before a permit hits the DEP, and there's also we want representation by council when Pilgrim eventually files for permits with the DEP. So the concept of this is that this will go into effect if there's 15 towns that are willing to enter into this joint agreement, and the shared cost would be no more than $5,000. And so again, it's contingent upon 15 towns signing off on it, and it's a retainer for John Scagnelli of Skorinsky Hollenbeck, who has an expertise in environmental law. And so it will also be associated with a joint defense agreement at the request of our council and other councils, so that we can retain certain attorney-client privilege information. So that's why we're making it a specific agreement with Mr. Scagnelli, so an attorney-client privilege relationship is formed.
Great. Thank you, Bob. Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second. Mr. Gallup?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mrs. Schwartz?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sullivan?
Yes.
And Mayor Ritter.
Yes. Any discussion items? All right, we'll now open it up again for hearing of citizens. If anyone would like to come forward? Seeing no one come forward, we have no executive session tonight, so I will call for a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.